Want to read a dozen books a week? Maybe prison's the place to be. About 70% of prisoners in New Zealand have trouble with basic literacy and numeracy. Fire-breathing dragons, vigilantes, sex and murder are just some of the things prisoners seem to enjoy reading about the most. Prison book clubs have been popping up in several of the country's 18 correctional facilities thanks to the dedication of prison librarians and tutors. While around 70% of prisoners don't have basic literacy or numeracy skills when they enter prison, some are now devouring up to 12 books a week. Self-help books, including publications by Dr. Phil and Jack Canfield, famous for his Chicken Soup for the Soul series, are well read behind bars. But not all of the most read material in prison are grim, as some prisoners actually enjoy reading about subjects such as origami, yoga and history. Deb Griffiths, Wananui Prison's acting assistant prison director, said reading helped to keep inmates connected. We have a very captive audience in our prisoners. Reading and access to books are what keeps our prisoners engaged. Prisoners' reading tastes are much like yours or mine, the difference being they do not have access to the internet, Kindles or computers, so the printed word is all that is available to them, Griffiths said. Although the bulk of prisoners had low literacy levels, work has been done behind bars to identify people who might benefit the most from developing a love for reading, she said. All prisoners in New Zealand have access to a library service. We have had lots of prisoners who come to prison unable to read and are now devouring every book we have, Griffiths said. Several book clubs operate in Wananui and Manawatu prisons, and inmates meet once a week to dissect the details of the group's latest novel. Many lively discussions are had, and it is a way for the prisoners to engage in a positive matter. Several of the groups are tackling some difficult literary texts and just love coming to book club, she said. A dream interpretation guide, similar to this one, is popular reading material for inmates in a New Zealand maximum security prison. Judith Winborn and Susan Smith, librarians at Christchurch Men's Prison, are preparing for the institution's first ever book club this coming week. The pair also runs the library service at Christchurch Women's and Rolleston prisons. There's some suggestion that reading fiction helps with empathy. That's really important, especially in this environment, Smith said. The Harry Potter series, and books about the paranormal are popular with the 130 prisoners from Christchurch Men's Prison who visit the library each week, Smith said. Christchurch Men's Prison librarians Susan Smith and Judith Winborn. Smith said the library was one of the few places where prisoners could exercise freedom behind bars, in terms of the choice of books they made. Some of the inmates read up to 12 books a week, she said. The prisoners themselves are actually the best advocates for the library service that we have. They tell each other which book is worth reading, she said. Department of Corrections data, released under the Official Information Act, reveals a Men's Health magazine, a novel featuring Lee Child's famous character Jack Reacher and Marvel Comics join a list of the most borrowed books in jail between May 2016 and May 2017. Meanwhile, at Irrawaddy Women's Prison in Wellington, mystery and fantasy novels are among the most popular genres. Charlaine Harris' True Blood series, A Game of Thrones and Martina Cole crime novels are near the top of the borrowing list, while fitness, T. Rio Maori and self-help books are also popular, including the Chicken Soup series by Jack Canfield. Along with library services, volunteers also visit prisons to help inmates develop their literacy skills, including the New Zealand Howard League, who has about 500 trained tutors on its books. Corrections National Commissioner Jeremy Lightfoot said the library service helped in the efforts to rehabilitate prisoners. The provision of prison library services ensures that prisoners are able to constructively occupy their time by reading books and newspapers. Staff also assist prisoners with using the prison library services so that, on release from prison, they will begin to see community-based library services as a hub of information and resources, Lightfoot said. Prison library collections are devoid of pornography, anything overtly violent, objectionable or related to the occult, gang-related topics or any other material staff believe could interfere with security.